Please hold for your regular wind interlude. Wind. Windy. Yep, don't we just love Jurassic Park? Hello and welcome to the Attach Pass podcast. My name is Ben Bailey and I am joined by Beth Bergen.
Hi Ben, it's been a while.
It has been far too long and we are in a change of scenery this week. So in case you can't tell, this is the outside.
Yes.
For people who don't know.
Yes, Ben told me to come over to record and we were going to record from his sofa this week.
Yep.
And I got here, he popped his head over the fence and said we're recording in the garden instead.
Yeah, I just popped up and went, hello, garden time. I just thought the weather's lovely. It's a nice little look. Behind you, Beth, like, if I can extend... yeah, you can see my hand. Over here, where my hand is where the studio's going to be. Yeah, the studio's going to be over there in the corner, and it's going to be wonderful, and that's where we're going to record all the podcasts from. So it's going to be a purpose-built space for recording and streaming and that sort of stuff. So there'll be more content coming from Attach Pass, not just the weekly podcasts. I might be lonely and stream on a TCG Live or some nonsense.
Yeah, Ben, when he's not got any work to do, just going to be there like, I'm going to be lonely and stream because Beth's at work.
Speaking of content, if during this podcast you hear any wind rustles or bird poop or whatever, please excuse us. It's experimental. I think it will be fun. It will also be an editing nightmare for me.
Yes,
So.
I feel like I'm going to get a lot of messages being like, why did I decide to do this?
Yeah,
I'm having to edit over a bird right now.
The thumbnail this week's just going to be Squawk. Oh, maybe it's just Squawkabilly. That would be absolutely perfect. So anyway, Beth, run us through what we're doing this week.
So this week we're going to have a touch on last season since the season wrapped up 2 weeks ago now with NAIC, and just to run down our season, how we felt about it, what we thought went well, what we'd like to do more of next season, and then we're going to go on to what our goals for next season are and see what both of us want to do.
Yeah, because there's plenty of things to do in the Pokemon TCG.
There is.
Tink.
And then we'll quickly just touch on NAIC and what happened there.
Yeah. I mean, do we start with NAIC or do we start with our season?
I think we start with our season because neither of us went to NAIC. We were never going to go to NAIC.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Okay. All right, ladies first then. Your season, your 2023-24 season for Pokemon. How do you feel it went? Oh, sorry, that was my phone. How do you feel it went? How do you feel you've improved? How do you feel you've worsened? Or talk to me through it. What happened this year?
So I finished the season on 52 points, which... to say I didn't attend and didn't try to get that many points and wasn't aiming to get points at the events I went to, I did pretty okay.
Yep.
Played a lot of different decks, a lot of variation in my season, and I think it's made me think maybe I should just pick a deck and stick to it in a meta.
Yep.
Because I tend to do better when I stick to a deck for a few weeks rather than flip-flopping, deciding around and going, yeah, I like this one this week. Then move on to something that's totally left field and just a pile sometimes.
Yep, that happens, right? Sometimes you play a pile, sometimes you play an actually formulated deck.
Hey, my deck this week actually was a formulated deck.
Yeah, it was. What was it? Gudra. Yeah, that was what you played at locals this week.
Yeah.
So, you ended up with 52 CP. You said
52 CP.
That's not too bad.
No, I got points at 2 challenges. 2 challenges and at Liverpool.
Right. Okay, that's pretty good. Yeah, I got points at Liverpool too.
Yeah.
But I don't think I got any more points.
No, I think we got equal points.
No, I ended on 30.
You ended on 30?
Oh, no, 40. That's what I got from Liverpool.
You got 40. Yeah. I got 30 from Liverpool because I got 10 from one challenge and then 12 from another challenge.
Oh, mine were from the main event.
Yeah. Mine were from the main event at Liverpool.
Okay, sure. Oh, okay. Sure.
Points,
I was there going, I think you'll find.
No.
But yeah.
I got 30 points from the main event and then 10 points from one challenge and 12 points from another challenge.
Nice. Yeah, I didn't play any challenges this year.
You did, because we played in one.
That was a cup, wasn't it?
No, the one at thingy. The one at, where do you call it?
I don't know.
The shop where me, you, Adam and Harry went to with Kitty.
I can't remember. Oh.
Just before we went to Lil.
This is so bad. I can't remember.
Because we played in the little dungeon thing.
Oh, Jack in the Box
Jack in the
in
Box,
Ripley.
that's it, yeah.
Was that a challenge?
That was a challenge.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I think I played Zard, an optimal Zard at that point.
Yeah, an optimal Zard.
Yeah. Okay, so you ended up pretty decent. I guess we'll let's talk about decks. What were your favourite decks that you've actually played? Like, because 12 months is a long time.
Yeah.
Both of us have played a lot of decks.
I've played a lot of decks. So, started off my season on a few different Lost Boxes. Stuck with Gudra for a while, and Gudra did me good.
Yep.
Was going to take Gudra to Lille and then chickened out the weekend before and decided to take Miraidon, which was a bad call from me.
You didn't want to generate anymore, did you?
My generators did not want to generate, no. So, yeah, was there. Then went off of Miraidon, back onto Gudra for a bit and Lost Box.
Yep.
Because I really love Lost Box. It's got a little soft spot in my heart. Tried to make Roaring Moon work. Roaring Moon did not work. Not in the way I was trying to play it, at least. And before we got the Ross Cawthorn list that absolutely smashed everything.
Yep.
Then went back onto Miraidon for a bit, and that's what got me points at Liverpool.
Miraidon was, yeah. The Don.
Yeah, Miraidon got me the most points this season, which is strange considering I hardly played it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a more, I guess, linear deck. Like, this is something I was talking to somebody about the other day. When you go to these large events, you have to genuinely make a conscientious choice.
Yeah.
Do you play a deck that you know has outs to everything in format, but requires some like big brain level power, or do you take a deck that you know has its like set line and it does that thing, which means you can focus your brain power on outplaying them in different ways?
Yeah.
You're not having to think about every decision. You can just go, I'm just going to rip this gen and see what happens.
Yeah.
Like, do you think it might have been because of that, or do you think it's just?
I think it was just I couldn't decide what deck to take, and I was like, I know I'm comfortable on Miraidon, so I just took Miraidon because I was like, I'm comfortable on it and I know how to play it. I don't need to do 1,000,001 reps with it to be good with it.
Yep, that's fair. That's fair. And would you say that Miraidon was probably your favourite deck to play this year, or it's just the one you had the most success with?
It's just the one I had the most success with. I always have a soft spot for Lost Box.
Yep.
Lost Box is I will always go back to a Lost Box at some point. Every month I always seem to bring a different Lost Box to locals at some point.
And there's always a Comfy in the active at one point.
Yeah, there's always a Comfy there doing some flower selection at one point. At the moment I'm really enjoying Ancient Box. I did think I'd enjoy Future Box, but Future Box just isn't good. Not compared to Ancient Box. Ancient Box is better.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, Future Box's main thing, the hands, doesn't one-hit knock out Ancient Box without a booster capsule.
Nope.
And or without the crowns, right? And Ancient Box can just go, I just set up and just slap. It's fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty nice deck. I'm really enjoying it. So it'll probably be that I stick on unless something really left field comes from the Shrouded Fates.
Yeah, we've got Shrouded Fable coming up.
Yeah.
And then we've got Stellar Crown.
Stellar Crown's end of September. So.
Yeah. Mid-September actually, because it's end of August the start of pre-releases.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But end of September when it's legal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Okay. So Lost Box has got the space in your heart.
Lost Box is always going to have a space in my heart, I think, just because it's fun. I get to do bits. I feel like I'm playing solitaire for 10 minutes and then go, your turn.
You get to 7 and go, rip the Mirage Gate.
Do everything I want to do.
Good luck, guys.
Everything a boy could want.
Yep, absolutely.
That's what it does.
Yep. Okay, fair play. What did I do this year? So I ended on 40 CP. I went to like 1 challenge and like 2 cups.
Yeah.
3 cups. 2.
Well, every cup you went to, we played at.
Yeah, it was 3 cups then?
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Dice, Bulwell,
Beanie.
and Beanie.
Yeah. Which
we drove all the way to Middlesbrough for.
Yeah, which I'm gonna end up doing again 4 times this year. So this current year though, the 23-24 season, I wasn't going for any form of invite. I wasn't trying to I was just trying to solidify myself in terms of getting comfortable with the game, getting comfortable at large events. We saw Lille, Liverpool, and EUIC for me this year, which is the same for you.
Yeah, same for me.
Really, really good events, large events. It's nice to get that sort of stamina in. Sorry, the tortoise is just doing laps round next to us. Literally with a bit of grass in her mouth, you absolute mong. Anyway, so yeah, the large 3 events. Leo, I let myself down. I played Zard 2 and I just didn't do it. I just didn't do well.
I will personally say what my opinion is. I think you should have played to Leo. I think you should have played Lost Box Tina because that was your deck you were so comfortable on at the time.
There was 2 choices, right? It was Tina or Zard. They were my two choices, and I went with Zard because lizard. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't massively different from now. You make a big lizard and you hit with a big lizard. I didn't have the reps on it, I think, and I didn't know the lines necessarily perfectly. So
yeah, you swapped pretty last minute like me. I think you swapped a few days before I swapped.
Yeah.
And I think you also made that mistake of swapping from Tina.
Which is weird because we had play tested Zard so much
Yeah.
when it first came, well, before it came out,
Yeah.
that I felt so confident with it, and then just let myself down completely.
I think you saw the results that it was having, and you were like, do I want to take this as a risk?
Yeah.
To play it constantly.
Well,
and
I should have done because
it
was a very good. I should have looked more into deck profiles and assessed it more, I think, before committing to it. But yeah, I did it. You know, you live and learn.
Yeah.
I also learned over the course of Lille that I don't like playing Zard.
Yeah, you did. You so many times you came up to me being like, I hate Zard.
It's so boring.
Yeah.
Like, for me, like, it's changed a lot. Dragapult now adds a bit to it,
I think
which is cool.
The Zard that exists now is a lot more complicated than the Zard that existed when it was Lille meta.
Yeah.
So it's a nice change, but I also still think it's not changed too massively.
It hasn't, but I think I'm going to go and dip my toe back into it because the Dragapult, I think, is quite a nice, interesting addition to it. So I'm going to build that, and I might play that this week, potentially, just to see what it's like and how I feel about it. But yeah, so Lille wasn't particularly great. Liverpool was phenomenal for me.
Liverpool, you did incredible at.
I took Guardy. We talked about this in our Liverpool. It's episode 1 actually of the podcast, so go back and listen to that. But a small overview. I took Gardevoir. I'd put loads of reps into it beforehand. Probably the results show. I put so much practice into Guardy. I started my weekend off at 5:01.
Yeah. And
then proceeded to tank from there. I ended up at 5:22.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but I was also horrifically ill by the end of game.
You were
9.
Dreadful.
I was passed out in the bed.
Yeah.
But that proved to me, that one Liverpool performance proved to me that next year I might try for this because I can do it.
Yeah.
Sure, I had a nice quirky matchup in the fact that I played a Zoroark V-Star game 2.
Yeah.
But other than that, everything else, I'd played well, clearly, to be able to sort it out. So that was interesting. That proved that to me. And then EUIC, I took Guardy again, but it was after the rotation, before Monkey Dory, when Turbo Hands was rampant, and I hate that.
Yeah,
that was a bad point for me.
Yeah, you just didn't have good matchups, because Guardy was strong in that weekend.
Yeah.
Most of the other Guardy players did make day 2 with it.
Yeah.
It was a strong deck. It was a rogue call for the meta.
Yeah. Just
because so many people were taking Turbo Hands and slapping Turbo Hands around that weekend.
Yeah.
But it was a strong deck to choose still. And as you were in the process of moving here at the time, you didn't have the time to test.
That was the big thing. I didn't have time to test into Turbo Hands. I didn't know how to work around it. And, I've since I now know how to beat it with Guardy.
Yeah.
And the Monkey Dory massively helps and all that sort of stuff. So Guardy just sort of has catapulted forward again.
Yeah.
Shining Arcana Guardy was peak, and then it troughed a little bit, and then it peaked even further, I think.
It's peaked even more now, I'd say, than just before Shining Arcana Guardy rotated.
Yeah. So, I took Guardy to EUIC. It's only because I had reps on it, and I thought maybe, but the deck had fundamentally changed.
Again, the night before, you was contemplating not playing Guardy.
It was Turbo Hands. It was Turbo Hands or Guardy. It was one of those two.
You flipped a coin.
I literally flipped a coin in the bedroom, in the hotel room. It was and I'm playing Guardy. Okay.
Yeah. That is what you did.
Do I wish I'd have played Turbo Hands? Yes. Why? Because it's stupid. Or it was stupid that weekend.
It was, yeah.
It was very good that weekend.
There was so many random decks that you could just feast on with it.
Yeah. But it's what it is. Overall, I played it as many locals as I could, but this year I did an awful lot of judging.
You did, yeah.
And TOing. Yeah. Obviously every single Wednesday, which will be going up to every Wednesday and Monday soon, because I'm going to be running 2 leagues. Which is, people will be like, that's crazy. But no, because I'm going to play in both leagues as well, when I can. Kitty will TO for me, so I can play.
Yeah.
I will still do the admin side of stuff, but on the actual day, she will TO for me. And between me and you or whoever else comes on those days, we can judge between the lot of us if we need to. Again, it's just a local, it's just a casual event. People, just want us to be there. So, I played as much as I could. I've really, really enjoyed Pokemon this season.
Yeah.
There's certain decks that I haven't liked. Storm, for example.
Yeah, I hated the small period where Store was good.
Yep. But now I think things have changed. The meta shifted a lot. Snorlax isn't as it's good. It's still very, very good. Control's
it's
incredible.
Not as prevalent. I like the control that is existing at the moment.
The Pidgeot.
The Pidgeot, because there's two forms what I've seen at the moment. There's a disruptive Pidgeot and a control Pidgeot.
Yep.
But both can take prizes.
Yeah, which is really nice. It feels like there's a lot of like little gateways to it. I guess Guardy, right? Is it ultimately going to win by taking prizes? But it is a disruption deck.
Yeah, it's
like,
a disruption
at its core, it's a disruption deck. I only like it because it hits with one prize attackers. So, but yeah, speaking, I guess one prize attackers decks that I've really enjoyed this year. Start of the year, Lost Box Tina. I enjoyed it. It bricked to itself, but I enjoyed it.
Yep.
It was still a lot of fun. Then I floated around until Liverpool for so long. Between October and April. No, Liverpool was
January.
January. Was it?
It was.
Oh, EUIC was April. Yeah, between October and January, I couldn't settle on a deck.
Nope.
I didn't want to play Zard even though I had it built and max rarity.
Yep.
I tried my Rhydon and had some fun with it, but thought, nah, I can't risk these generators.
Yeah.
And I really, really struggled to find a deck that I was comfortable and happy on.
It took you till, I want to say mid-December to get comfortable with Guardy, to be like, this is what I want to get some reps in with. You started getting the reps in with it and you realised how insane it can be.
Well, Liverpool, I told myself I had to be ready. I had to choose my deck 3 weeks before.
Yeah.
Like, that was a hard limit I set myself. I think I ended up choosing 2.5 weeks before.
Yes.
But I chose Guardy.
You chose Guardy. It was settling on your exact 60 that your issue was.
Well, I had 59. It was just the one change. I can't remember what it was now. But playing Guardy loads was the thing for me. I really gelled with it. I loved it. I loved the flow of everything. People were complaining, oh, Guardy players don't ever get to game 3. I was like game 3 in every single time, or game 2 in winning on game 2 every single game.
It's because so many Guardy players will play the second game slower because they know. And sometimes I think it is also because some players don't know when to scoop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, if you know when to scoop, it is a hard thing to know. And there is plenty of people who will scoop too early.
Yep.
Before you even start game 2 sometimes.
Yes.
But if you don't know that skill, you don't know what to do. You don't know if to risk it.
Yep.
And just try and win it out, or try and burn the clock a bit more and just take the draw.
Yep.
But sometimes taking the draw is what comes back to bite you.
Yep. Yeah. It happens. But yeah, I enjoyed Guardy so much.
Yeah.
In its Shining Arcana format. Before rotation, I loved God of War.
You did.
It was great. I played it.
I think you nearly cried the day it rotated.
I played it well as well.
You did.
And then it rotated and I was like, what am I playing now?
And you went and built a variation of Guardy and still played Guardy.
Yeah, I did. But the most fun deck that I've played this entire format has only sort of popped out after EUIC, which I should have played to EUIC.
I know exactly what you're gonna say.
The Dun Moonspass? The Dun Moonspass?
The Dungeons Dragons.
Yeah.
The Dungeons and Dragons.
The Dun. Is that what I called it?
No, that's not what. That's what I told you. What someone else had called it.
The Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah.
I think it was someone who got top 8 at EUIC with it was calling it the Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. Rory Moon did the Dunspass.
Yeah.
I think it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
I had to tell Ben that because he's a big D&D fan.
Yes.
So.
No, it was just fun. I enjoyed it. It's a really good deck. I play it now. It literally hasn't changed. The 60 haven't changed since new set.
There's nothing to change in it really.
The only thing is I've tried it by swapping the penny for the Kieran, and that extra 30 damage is actually quite nice. But you lose the penny, but you get the Kieran switch.
That's one of the two changes that happened to a lot of ancient boxes after NAIC.
Mate, 30 damage is huge.
Honestly, it is. It comes in clutch a lot more than people think.
Well, you can one-shot a Zard now with your ancient box if you ditch enough stuff with the Baby Moon.
Well, you could still do it anyway. Before, you just had to ditch everything.
Yeah, but now you don't have to.
No.
You can keep something. But yeah, I really, really, really enjoyed the Dun Moonspass. The Dun Moon. And it's one of those decks that I will pretty much keep built at. It is max rarity.
Yes, I am not surprised.
Because I love it.
Rarity.
Everything's gold, and when the gold earthen vessels come out, I'm getting 4 of those bad boys to whack straight into it. But yeah, I really, really like that deck. I think it's really fun. I think it's really enjoyable. And and it's something that if I come to like, for whatever reason, if I manage to max challenges and cups at some point, I'll just go to playing that because it's fun. But yeah, so that's the deck I've had the most fun on. Guardy in its previous format, then Guardy in its current format, then Tina, and then you're looking at things like Miraidon and stuff.
Yeah. You never really played a lot of Miraidon, though.
I tried.
You tried?
I just don't like generators.
No, you don't.
I think it's stupid. It's such a rolly deck. Like, it's such a coin flip. You either hit them and win or don't and lose. Like, that's basically how the deck works.
You either hit them and win, and then you hit them and win, or you don't hit them and you have to find a way to disrupt.
Yeah.
Try and gain a turn.
But then you're also super Iono redundant. Like, if I Iono you down to 2, you're screwed. Like, there's nothing you can... You're sat there going, please give me a research, please give me a research. Just so you can
How
go
many
rip
times,
it.
though, did you Iono me into a handful of energy?
Oh, yeah. But
that's what I mean.
But this is the point, right? Like, it's why I don't enjoy that deck. Like, I think it's... Yeah. I personally, I just don't enjoy it.
It's too simple for me most of the time. Like, I prefer, as you know, I prefer a more thinky deck.
Yep.
And I think even though it is a lot more linear than Lost Box, I like Ancient Box because there's a lot of thought processes still.
I like Ancient Box. It's knowing what to throw when and where to throw it and stuff.
That's why That's why I prefer the Walking Wakes.
See, I hate them.
You hate them?
Yeah. I think I was talking to one of my friends yesterday. Ethan, there you go. You've got to mention. No, you don't get royalties. Talking to him yesterday about it, and we were, because basically I'm trying to settle on a certain amount of decks, and one of the ones that was in the decks was Ancient Box, but it was the Koraidon version. The reason is because Walking Wake is another amp target, and because Chempao, Lost Box, Lugia, and Miraidon are all very good decks at the moment. All of them can pretty easily set up a turn 2 hands.
Yeah.
They're going to be able to amp you very much on not only your Flutter mains, not only your Greninjas, but now also your Walking Wakes. That's genuinely the only reason.
Yeah, but more often, I've only started, out of all the games I've played with it, I've only started with it once somehow.
It happens.
So, it's like, my thought process is if it's happening once out of, like, God knows how many games, it's worth the risk.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. Again, this is two different things. They're literally the same deck. You just swap 4 Koraidon for 4 Walking Wake.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all you do.
Yeah.
Walking Wake isn't there to attack. It doesn't do anything.
No.
It's literally a one retreat ancient Pokemon.
You don't even run water energy.
No. It's just darkness.
Yeah.
Like, oh, sorry. No, I run 2 less dark and 2 fighting.
Yeah, but that's because you.
But that's because I run the Koraidon, and the Koraidon is actually an okay attacker.
Koraidon's okay. I just think it takes too much to sometimes set up decent numbers.
Yeah, but what I like about the Koraidon is, regardless of numbers, putting some numbers on the board is good.
Oh, yeah.
With Wake, you can't put numbers on the board. That's the downside.
Yeah.
But, it's one of those things. That's one of those conversations. That's one of those things, you decide and you run with it. And if you enjoy the Wake, you enjoy the Wake. If you don't, you don't. It's just how it is. So, yeah, I'm looking at Guardy. I'm looking at Ancient Box. The Dunmoon for my fun deck. And then I'm thinking I'm probably going to run, like, Bolt Ogerpon. Just going forward. I think, they're very good decks. There's a pigeon. They're very good decks, and they're one of those things where it's pretty much I've got a good matchup into all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Depending on what is in the room, for example. But I think they're the 3 that I'm sort of going to focus on going into next season. Which, speaking next season, I want to go to Worlds.
I know you do.
That's it. That's my goal. I want to get an invite. Whether I actually go or not is different, but I would like to...
You want to be one of those people that would today sat getting an email saying, congratulations, because of your performance in the 2023-24 Pokemon season, you've got an invite to Worlds.
Yes, that would be lovely. However, I've got to try really hard. So, I've stopped playing Lorcana. I've stopped playing Star Wars Unlimited. I've got rid of all my Warhammer.
You've got rid of all your Warhammer now.
Yeah, I'm literally just focusing on Pokemon, which might sound quite sad to a lot of people, and I appreciate that and I understand that. However, it's something I really want to do, and I've got Kitty's full support in it, which is great. but I will be going to as many regionals as I can, as many internats as I can. I'll be going to all the cups and challenges I possibly can. I'm going to be eat, sleep, living, pooping, everything Pokemon for the next, 9 months.
You are going to be losing your mind by the end of it.
Probably. But I don't know if I'm going to get another opportunity to try and go for Worlds.
Yeah.
So I want to give myself the best possible opportunity to get Worlds.
Yeah.
So, I'm putting a lot of investment, time, and fiscally into it. One of the reasons I'm building the studio as well is not just because it's a place for us to record podcasts and play games and stuff, but record gameplay and stuff. It's a place that I can just get anybody around at any moment and play games with right there.
Worst comes to worst, you'll go out there and you play your live.
Yeah, but it's a space dedicated to it, and it's almost like its own little sanctum, if you like, where that is where I'm going to dedicate everything. And that's the plan. I'm not going to try to staff or judge cups. I'm not going to try and staff anything outside of the leagues that I run.
Yep.
And even then, certain events like challenges, I'm probably going to try and get somebody else to staff them for me, so that I can play in them. Like Kitty run it and get Matt down to judge it or something, or you judge it if you want to, or whatever. Just because for me, this year is about playing. Yeah. The year after is probably about staffing. If I don't get a ticket to a regional for whatever reason, I'm going to apply to judge them all, because I can always just drop out of the judging bit to play in it. But my point being, if I don't get to play, I can then judge an event, and then that can set me up for the following year of potentially being able to be like, look, I want to try and get my stage 2 this year, and then by the end of that year get stage 2 judging. So that's sort of where we're going with it. Yeah. That's my plan. It's Worlds this year, Worlds next year, but in a staffing capacity. Unless I just somehow become, toured overnight or over the course of the next 12 months, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, actually I could just make loads of money doing this game.
Just live off doing Pokemon.
Yeah, which I won't. But being realistic, I would like to. We don't know what the CP requirement is.
No, we don't know anything yet, because all the US events that have leaked so far have been through convention centers putting them on their websites. Yeah. So people have been finding the dates out that way. We don't really see the same thing happen with that in Europe. Yeah. So you don't really see the events go up like that.
Because we're all lastminute.com over here. No, but
it's not as last minute. It's more that they don't post events apart from the organisers posting them.
Yeah. Well, I reckon we're going to end up seeing a CP increase to 600 requirement for the UK, or for Europe.
I think if we see an increase, the US will see another increase.
Probably. The US, I assume, will go to 7. We'll go to 6. That is my pessimistic look on it. Yeah. If hopefully it stays exactly as it is. Yeah. 500 is a lot easier to hit than 600.
Yeah. Especially when you have a best finish limit of 6 for everything but your internats. But there's only 3 internats. Yeah.
So it's one of those things of going, oofed. I'm gonna have to try now, because if you max cups and challenges, you only need 110 from regionals and internats at the moment. If it goes to 600, you now need 210. Which is significantly more.
It is, but you've got to think you've also got it across 6 events to get it, and 3 internats if you go to every event.
Yes, yeah, if you do. But yeah, so that's going to be interesting. That's what I'm trying to do next year. What about yourself? You got any plans for next year?
I don't know.
No?
I don't know.
Just take it as the wind blows?
Yeah, well, obviously, as you know, I'm leaving education finally at the grand age of almost 25. Yeah. So
that's old. I'm older.
I was going to say you're older. You can't say anything. So I'm in the process of finding a full-time job that is a full and proper full-time job, not just an education opportunity that pays me. Yep. So it all depends what happens down that route and what I have financially there. Yeah, yeah. I've got a few opportunities in Lorcana that I want to capitalise on with staffing. Yep. So it will all depend sometimes on dates of events for if they clash with, which hopefully they shouldn't, because they should have a logical thought process and think, okay, there's these big events around this date already, let's not put a big event on the same weekend. Yes. Because there is a lot of crossover between all the big TCGs.
Lorcana, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, Pokemon, all sorts.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Pokemon, Lorcana and Magic all have a lot of crossover. Yeah. So if they put something on the same weekend, it would be a bit stupid to do, just because it would then mean that the player bases are having to pick and choose a lot more.
I mean, realistically, there is only a finite number. There's only 52 weekends in a year.
Yeah,
right?
there's a finite. No, I'm understanding there's a finite number.
Yeah.
But when you already have some dates that have been released before, you should have a little bit of a thought process and think, we'll not do one on the same weekend there, just because we're gonna split the number of players.
Which is kind of why I'm hoping that Pokemon get a wiggle on and get their Europe dates out now, so that I can just book them all in the calendar straight away. All the regionals go in the calendar.
Yeah.
And then and then look at other events if I want to go and play Lorcana, or if I want to go and play Star Wars, or whatever. If I need a break from Pokemon, because I will need a break from Pokemon. But yeah, so you don't know where you're gonna be.
No.
You could be.
Well, I'm gonna be based around here still, so I'll still be doing this, because of everything I've applied for is Sheffield, Nottingham, Derby, Leicester, Loughborough based. So I'm within the East Midlands area at least. So I'm not gonna be a million miles away. I'll still be a local round here. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that comes through and I can make a few more decisions, because I will have an understanding of
where you are,
where I am fiscally.
Yeah, which will be interesting. So I guess it's a case of, if you can, you will. If you can't, you won't.
Yeah. If I can, I will. If I can't, I won't. Yeah.
Yep. Very, very simply. Whereas I'm come hell or high water doing stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just it's what I want to do this year.
Yeah.
So and I'm sure I'll rope you in for practice and.
I know I'm going to be getting roped in for practice,
Yeah.
and I will probably be spending many late nights testing against you, because you're like, no, I need reps in against this deck.
I've got a spare bed. I've got 2 spare beds. You can, we'll play in the shed, and then you can go bed upstairs. I'm going to try and I think the shed, once I've done it, will be big enough to host small little 8-man tournaments and stuff, which will be quite cool. So we'll try and get a couple of those in as testing bits and stuff. Yeah. I'm going to try and get as much in-player practice as I can, because
paper practice always beats online.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
as much as it isn't, live looks like it's rigged, because my generators hit so well on live. So well on live. It's very rare that I hit a gen that doesn't hit at least one.
Yeah.
Yet in person, it feels like 90% of them hit 1 or 0.
You and your gens are one of the funniest things I've ever got to witness. It's all of a sudden, it's the 5 cards that's played out. He picks it up.
Shuffle it back in.
Shuffle. Just shuffle. He doesn't even do anything.
Arven for generator.
Arven. Generator.
5 more. Shuffle again. Yeah.
Or sometimes even Forest Sealstone for generator. 5 again.
Yeah.
Nope.
Rip through 4 generators and find 1 on the last generator.
That's normally what happens with Ben, and it is one of the funniest things I ever witnessed.
The thing is, at that point, wait for the wind to go down. Please hold for your regular wind interlude. Wind. Windy. It's getting faster. Blustery. Windy. Wind. I'm going to leave that in. Yeah, I'm going to leave that in. That was great. Generators, hate them all.
Generators after that little interlude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, hate generators. Yeah. So that's definitely not going to be on my cards. Unless somehow, I mean, I guess if you think about it, Cypher Maniac, sure, you can stack it, but...
Yeah, you can stack it. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure on it.
Yep.
One deck I do like the look of when the next set comes out, the half set, Shrouded Fates, Fables. Breaking Drago.
Yes, dragons with the Haxorus.
With the Haxorus and the Kyurem.
Yep. Yeah, the Kyurem's going to be interesting.
The little Lost Box killer.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, the Kyurem can just be a one-of in any deck.
Yeah.
Literally any deck can just go, just in case. It's like a Manaphy. Just in case. And then they go, dead.
Yeah, and you boss up the Manaphy and you can't Sunclone it, and you just...
I actually think one of the best decks that could play it is Chempal, because it already runs Prime Catcher plus Boss plus cancelling clone. Like
A lot of them have dropped cancelling clone now.
quite a few are putting it back in.
I know a lot are putting it back in.
Because they realise the error that Greninja is so good.
Yeah.
So good that people are just like, oh yeah, we should probably play with this more.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting to see. I'm excited to see it. I think the Kyurem probably best fits slotted into things like a Chempao or something that already runs Cologne for whatever reason, and is just going to be able to go dead because you've played a Colress. So yeah, this year we're going to see Shred of Fable, Stellar Crown. We'll have another set before the end of the year.
Yeah.
And then
It'll be the half set in January.
a half set in January, and then one more set, then rotation.
Well, no. The next set would be rotation.
Yes, it will. So yeah, rotation's
So
going to hurt us next year.
2 more half sets and 2 full sets before rotation.
Yep, and we lose all Vs and V stars, all Lost
We
Box.
lose Lost Box.
We lose all the good stuff. The barrel goes away, Manaphy goes away.
Yeah, but then so does Kira. So does Greninja.
All
at
the
the same
Radiance.
time.
Yeah, but doesn't matter. Wellspring Ogerpon.
Oh yeah.
It's Greninja, but it shuffles it into the deck.
I mean, it could still bring back something. So, what bench protection is there now?
Rabska.
No, there's the other one. The
Tentacle? Toadscroll.
Toadscroll. That's it, where it's all effects.
Is that bench protection? I thought that was cards back to hand.
No, there's a bench protection one. I don't know which one it is now. Oh, it's the EX. I think if you've got energy attached.
Grass energy or something, isn't
No,
it?
just energy.
Is it?
Yeah.
Still feels very...
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Manaphy going is going to hurt.
Manaphy going is going to
like
hurt.
Wellspring Ogerpon is actually goated like at that point. But then people just stop playing basic one prizes.
Yeah.
They like baby one prizes. Sorry, they start playing more
2 prize decks.
big basic babies, and then Charizard comes in and goes, lol, and still proceeds to kill everything. The barrel going's going to hurt though. Revavroom is probably your best choice next.
Revavroom or the Dunsparce.
Yeah.
Probably the Dunsparce over Revavroom.
I don't know. Drawing up to 6 is nice. Okay, you have to get rid of an energy, but drawing up to 6 is nice.
Yeah, but I'm thinking more about how thin a lot of decks are getting at the moment.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I think the only one that doesn't benefit from it is Starlord.
Yes.
Because they never seem to get through the deck.
No, but they also, yeah, even though they run, because they don't need to, because they just quick search the bit they want.
Yeah,
They don't need to dig. They just go, I want the boss, and it's like, okay, here's the boss, and it's like, cool, I have game.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's Zard's probably definitely something I'm going to play. I'm probably going to play it this week, just because I want to see how it functions with the Dragapult. Because I really like Dragapult. Like, I've named my gecko. I've got a new gecko. It's called Dreepy.
He's probably going to insert another photo here like
Oh
he
God,
always
don't
does.
make me edit things, man. Thing is, I was going to say that, but then I knew I'd have to edit it. Now you said it, I have to put it in. Grrr.
Well, it's you. You're always wanting to show off your little Dreepy.
Dreepy. So bad.
He is little.
Yes, my gecko Dreepy. I like Dreepy. He's very cute. Right, Kate, the tangent time. Doesn't want to ignore the pigeon sound. We are outside. The tangent is at the start. Kitty recommended something to me, and this is the perfect episode to do it.
Oh God.
At the start of the episode, there should be like the funniest bit at the very start before the intro.
Yep.
To hook people in. How am I going to choose? There's been at least like 4.
Well, I mean, I would say the rain interlude, the wind interlude.
The tunes, the dirty beats.
Would be quite funny, but I don't think that would hook people in.
No, that'd probably scare them off. They'd be like, oh my God, what is this? Close it. F5. I'm going to delete System 32 while I'm here. Just burn my computer. This is horrific.
Yeah.
Yeah, just make themselves deaf after that. But yeah, okay, cool. So, yeah, next year, you don't really know what you're doing.
No, I don't.
Which is fair. It's yeah, definitely a wait and see.
So wait and see.
That sun is slowly coming down. You can see it. It's right there. We have like 10 minutes before I'm blind. So let's have a really quick rundown of NAIC.
Yeah. So.
I say rundown. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm gone.
The top 8.
The top 8.
Okay. The top 2 decks.
The
The top 2.
There was only 2 decks in top 8. There was 6 Gardevoir and 2 Lost Box.
And Lost Box came first and to 8th.
Yeah, there was a nice Gardevoir sandwich with Lost Box as the bread, which was kind of cool to see. Like, it was nice. I'm glad Lost Box won it. I genuinely am.
Yeah.
Because if Guardy wins it, people go, my gosh, this is so good. I mean, it already is good. People know it's good.
It's good.
But
then you get all the people who think it is just a good deck and don't realise how much of a time commitment it is to actually learn it.
There's so much that goes into learning Guardy.
Like, I spent probably 2 months on Guardy.
Yeah.
And I loved Guardy, but it was just one of the ones where it's like, do I want to do this for
9 hours?
How many hours?
12 hours. Yeah. So instead you do it to yourself with Lost Box.
No, because I never take Lost Box to a big event.
But this is my argument between Guardy and Lost Box, right? They're both incredibly intensive decks mentally, right? Both of them are. I don't think anybody can dispute that.
No one can dispute that.
Guardy, I can ditch stuff, but I can get it back with Rod.
To an extent.
Yeah, but I can access some of the stuff that I've thrown away.
Yeah.
Lost Box, you can't get that back.
No.
So every decision you make will haunt you at some point for a split second. You go, I really wish I had that switch card now. Or, oh no, that's psychic. Like, I played against Kate, who was playing Lost Tina on Wednesday, and her first 2 flower selectings were draw, nothing, flower select, choices were Colress and Psychic. Psychic goes in the bin because you have to have the Colress.
Yeah.
Cool. Colress. The 5 cards that were incredible. Got rid of 2 that were like, ugh. Anyway, flower selecting next. It was Psychic and Psychic. And it's like, well, now you've just lost. And it's like, well hang on. What do you mean? Well, you run 3 to 4 Psychic at best, right? You should be running 4.
Most are running 4 now.
She prized 1.
Oh, no.
So there was 1 Psychic left that was in her hand that she couldn't gate to, had no other switches, had to jet the Tina into the active, so couldn't, like, Mirage gate it. There was no way to shuffle it back in. And there was 2 in the lost zone, 1 in the prizes and 1 in hand. And it's like, cool. I can just do my thing and just knock you out now. So yeah, that was that. Anyway, so NAIC.
That's the important of prize checking.
Yes. NAI. But to be fair, Kate had never played the deck before.
True.
And it was just an interesting thing for her to test out. So yeah, Lost Box, bread, Guardy filling. Not a good representation of the meta.
No, it was quite a diverse meta, to be fair.
Yeah, well, I mean, if we look at the decks, we've got Chien-Pao, Lugia, Lost Box, Guardy, Zard, Bolt Ogerpon, and then what's the other big... Miraidon is the other big deck that you'll see lots of.
And then you've got rogue decks
and
like
then you've
Blissey.
Got Blissey, Ancient Box,
Turbo Hands.
Like, the rogue decks I don't really count, but the other 7, like, for look at base and meta analysis, the other 7 are just wild, and they're all close.
And the funny thing is that some of the rogue decks aren't even that rogue.
No.
Because they're only just like a slight percentage lower than the 7th most popular deck, so they're not technically a rogue deck.
Yeah. And it's wild. The meta at the moment is so broad, and NAIC just didn't show that, because Guardy was just the perfect meta call for the weekend.
Yeah,
Guardy
was the best meta call, clearly.
Lost Box is always a good call.
I don't think there's ever a time I've ever seen Lost Box not be a good call.
And particularly with the addition of Iron Thorns, it is so good. Like, Lost Box loves playing against Lugia.
Yeah.
Because it can Thorns. Now I've got to cut that out, Reese. Maybe that sort of goes at the start of the podcast. Because he popped...
I was going to say, he popped up there.
Maybe I don't edit any of this podcast. Yes, I know, Lottie. Yes. Maybe I don't edit any of this podcast. I don't even know if they'll hear that.
I think they're going to hear that.
What's he doing? Waiting for, like, Christmas?
Ben, with how crazy that was going a minute ago, they're going to hear it.
Sorry about that, listeners. There will be a massive cut there. and I'm not going to be able to stitch it together in any way, shape, or form. The tortoise is looking at me as if to say, "No, you can do it." Then anyway, so Lost Box loves Lugia
Yes.
because not only can it one shot the Cinccino's with Amp in them and take 2 prizes,
it can one-shot Lugia.
it can one-shot Lugia with either the Amp or the Iron Thorns, which is even better because Iron Thorns hits 140. It only has 3 energy on it, and it passes energy back, whilst being a ability blocker in the active for Rulebox. Incredible. So I think Lost Box is always going to be a good call. Ultimately, we did see it win out, which is great, but I don't think the top 8 was a true representation of the meta. I just think the top 8 was a representation of the correct meta call for the weekend.
Not just that, but it also it did highlight some of the best players that we have at the moment in the Pokemon TCG. I
feel like Gandalf's just separated the rock in the Hobbit, or he's just about to come down the hill on the 5th day to save me. Save me, Gandalf.
But we did get to see 2 of the best players in the final, at least for once.
We did, and you are casting shadow. That is brilliant. So we did get to see 2 in the final, which was great. Andrew and Stefan
Ivanov.
Yep.
Good representation for the EU.
Yeah, nearly run it 3 years in a row.
The European nations nearly won every
IC this year.
Every IC this year.
Yeah. He has also won NAIC twice before.
Yes, he has.
So, this will be the 3rd time that he's won it, which is just
if he had won
wild.
But it was Drew Hendricks who took it.
Yep, which, congratulations. Played well.
He played incredibly well.
One thing I do want to say, and it won't do me any favours with the Pokemon Company, is fix your judging. Right? So, the consistency of judging between the juniors final and the seniors final was non-existent.
Yeah.
Things that one of the juniors got penalised for, the senior did an equal, if not worse, infraction and proceeded to not get penalised for it.
Yeah.
And I wasn't a fan of that.
I'm never a fan of inconsistencies because it then means that the juniors are getting trained to a certain standard that then isn't being carried over.
Yeah.
And then the same call that was made in juniors probably would get called in masters.
Yeah. I wonder if it was just an anomaly. I'm not saying it's for everything, but I would just like to see a bit more consistency with the judging. Just again, it's not crucial. It's just ultimately the penalty would have been against a player that lost the game anyway.
Yeah.
That's not the point though. It's the consistency of your penalty and your judging and your penalising across the teams. Stream judging is always hard. It's always going to be difficult.
It's because they've got to try and not interfere too much because then you get used to people interfering with your games, but then you've got to also interfere when you need to interfere.
Yeah, and you're also representing Pokemon. Like that's also a big thing. You've got thousands and thousands and thousands of people watching the game, and you've got so many eyes critiquing not just the play, but the judge. And they know that, and I appreciate that, but I would have just liked to seen that little bit of what I would consider obvious consistency lacking remedied ahead. But that is what it is, and I'm pretty sure somebody in the comments will have something to say about that. But we'll see. So yeah, NAIC though was good. It was nice to watch it.
Yeah.
One rotation format. One tournament format, sorry.
Yeah, we are not going to get another format where it is it Brilliant Stars to Twilight Masquerade?
Yes.
We're not going to get another one.
Half of Brilliant Stars. Like some have rotated out, some have not. Weird. Anyway, yeah, we're not going to get that format in a big regional or a big internet. We've got cups and challenges with it because they start again in July.
Yes, they do.
So they've already started going up. We are 9 days away. From the start of the season, which is weird because Worlds hasn't happened yet.
Worlds never happens before the start of the season.
But it kind of makes sense, right? So, so we're going to see that, and then Worlds will have the Shadow Fable rotation come in, which is going to be nice and interesting.
Yeah,
Dark decks are really good.
There's some interesting stuff I've seen going around in Japan that I want to try out, which might make some changes to what decks I run next season. Same,
actually. It might be that... This is the other thing, right? One before we sign off, because we are hitting that time, and I am about to be blinded. One thing about my deck choices that I was looking at was one thing I'm trying to think is, do I want to play something like Guardy that before if I get like the majority of the season in with Guardy, it won't exist when World comes around.
No.
Because it will rotate out.
Yeah.
Like I lose Refinement Curliers.
You lose the good stuff.
Which is huge. Like that is going from Refinement Curliers to non-Refinement Curliers in Guardy goes from good to awful.
And also losing Radiant Greninja.
Yep.
And you lose Cresselia.
Yep.
You lose Manaphy, which is a big piece
Yep.
for Guardy.
Like loads of it just disappears. So whilst Guardy is good and very good now, at what point in my season do I switch over to a deck that I need the reps in for Worlds?
I think if you're going to run Guardy, you run it till...
Run it till the end.
No, you run it till like January.
I mean, it's only April, right, when it rotates.
Yeah.
So realistically, I've got 4 months between April and Worlds.
And there might be decks that come out between now and Worlds that
Change everything.
change everything next season.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just one of those things that we'll have to see. We'll have to see going forward and see if that's something we want to do. So yeah. Anyway, is there anything else you would like to talk about, Beth?
No, I've chatted away about everything I could think of.
Well, thank you for coming to my garden. Why did we record? We recorded a podcast in a garden for. The neighbour's going to be like, "What are those two nutters talking about?"
Recorded a podcast in a garden in the middle of a British summer.
Yeah, we love it.
Running the risk of being rained on.
Probably doing it again next week because I won't have. It'll be either here or in the inside. If the weather's good, it'll probably be outside because it's funny and memey. I won't have the studio done, but I hopefully will have made some headway.
And we get winded flutes.
Yeah, we do. I'm going to copyright that song. Don't come for me. Anyway, thank you very much for watching us. We have been Attached Past, the mid-tier podcast by mid-tier players on your mid-tier streaming devices. I'm sure they're all great. Thanks for listening to our thank you for listening to our year wrap-up in Pokemon TCG and what we're sort of looking forward to next year.
Yeah.
I think we've basically just chatted nonsense for the past hour.
We probably have, yes.
Yeah. And on that note, I love you all. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
See you in a bit.
See you next week, guys.
Bad finger guns.
You always have bad fingers.